Have you ever wondered why you keep going back to that box of cereal, even when you're not truly hungry? Maybe it starts as a quick breakfast, but before you know it, you're pouring another bowl in the afternoon, and sometimes again at night. If you're over 60 and find yourself craving cereal more often than you'd like to admit, you're not alone, and you're not weak. There's actually a scientific reason this happens, and in today's video, we're going to uncover it together. You see, many popular cereals, even the ones labeled healthy, whole grain, or low fat, are designed to keep you coming back. They're filled with fast-digesting carbs and hidden sugars that trigger powerful responses in your brain and body. These ingredients cause your blood sugar to spike and crash, leaving you feeling tired, hungry, and craving more of the same thing that caused the problem in the first place. And the worst part? You don't even need to love sweet foods to fall into this trap. Sometimes it's the crunch, the comfort, or the routine that keeps the habit going. As we age, our bodies become even more sensitive to sugar and less efficient at managing insulin. That means the very foods that used to be fine at 40 or 50 can now cause energy crashes, weight gain, mood swings, and disrupted sleep at 65 and beyond. And cereal, something we've trusted since childhood, may quietly be feeding a craving cycle that works against your health every single day. But don't worry. This video isn't about guilt or restriction. It's about awareness and solutions. We're going to explore why cereal cravings happen, what they do to your body and brain, and how you can break the habit without feeling deprived. Because you deserve to feel full, focused, and in control, not trapped in a cycle of sugar and snacking. I know you are a person who likes to watch videos quietly. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do it because you are a kind person. If the video is helpful, press 1. If the video is not good enough or needs improvement, press 2. Thanks everyone. Now let's get started. Number 1, the sugar craving cycle, how it starts. Patricia, 74, used to laugh when she called cereal her guilty pleasure. Every morning she started her day with a generous bowl of sweetened flakes. It wasn't just breakfast, it was comfort. Then in the late afternoon, she'd find herself back in the kitchen, pouring a second bowl, telling herself, it's better than cookies. But as time went on, Patricia noticed something strange. She wasn't just enjoying cereal anymore. She was craving it, even when she wasn't hungry, even when she had just finished dinner. That's when she realized it wasn't just a habit, it had become a cycle. And Patricia isn't alone. One of the most common and most misunderstood causes of persistent cereal cravings is hidden sugar. Many cereals marketed to older adults contain refined grains and added sugars that create a short burst of energy followed by a crash. But even more important than what they do to your body is what they do to your brain. When you eat sugar, especially first thing in the morning when your body is fasting, your brain responds by releasing dopamine, the feel-good chemical. It's the same response triggered by things like gambling or even certain drugs. This rush of pleasure creates a reward loop. Your brain says, that felt good, let's do it again. Over time, your body starts to associate cereal with emotional comfort, energy, and pleasure. You might not even notice it happening until you find yourself reaching for the box out of habit, even when you're not physically hungry. This is what scientists call a mild addiction loop. It doesn't mean you're weak or out of control. It means your brain has been trained to seek out a specific kind of stimulation, and cereal delivers it quickly. The combination of sugar plus refined carbs plus crunch is particularly powerful at triggering that response. And the more often you feed it, the stronger the craving becomes. For seniors, this becomes even more complicated. As we age, our sensitivity to dopamine decreases, which means we may need more stimulation, more sweetness to feel the same level of satisfaction. At the same time, blood sugar regulation becomes more fragile. That means every sugar spike from a bowl of cereal is followed by a more dramatic drop, leaving you feeling tired, foggy, or emotionally flat. And what do we do when we feel that way? reach for another bowl, chasing that same feeling again. This cycle is especially hard to spot because cereal seems so harmless. It's not cake. It's not ice cream. It doesn't feel like a treat. It feels like food. But in reality, many cereals contain as much sugar per serving as a glazed donut, and most people pour far more than one serving into their bowl. You may be unknowingly feeding a sugar craving every single day, thinking you're making a healthy choice. So what's the takeaway here? The craving for cereal isn't just about hunger, it's about neurochemistry. And once you understand that, you can start to take back control. You can begin to ask yourself, am I really hungry or am I chasing a feeling? That small question is the first step in breaking the pattern. Patricia began changing her mornings. She replaced her sugary flakes with oats, added cinnamon for flavor, and included a boiled egg for protein. Within weeks, her late-day cravings faded. She didn't miss the cereal. She missed the feeling. But she found a better one in stable energy, clear thinking, and a sense of freedom. Cravings are never just about willpower. They're about how your body and brain respond to what you eat. And once you see that, you can choose differently, with more compassion, more awareness, and more strength than you thought you had. Number 2, fast carbs equals fast cravings. Every morning, Harold, 77, poured himself a heaping bowl of his favorite cereal. It was crisp, sweet, and felt light, the kind of breakfast he'd enjoyed since his working days. But he started noticing something frustrating. Just 2 hours later, he was hungry again. His stomach growled, his energy dipped, and he found himself reaching for a granola bar or another small snack, often another bowl of cereal. "I don't eat that much," he would say, "but I'm always hungry." What Harold didn't realize is that his morning meal was setting him up for a craving loop, one powered by fast carbohydrates. So what are fast carbs? Simply put, fast carbs are carbohydrates that digest very quickly in the body, like those found in most breakfast cereals. These include refined grains, puffed rice, corn flakes, and wheat flakes. Because these carbs have been stripped of fiber and broken down during processing, they enter the bloodstream at lightning speed and turn into glucose, sugar, almost immediately. This rapid digestion causes a spike in blood sugar, giving you a quick surge of energy, but that surge doesn't last. After the spike comes the crash. Your body releases insulin to bring the sugar levels down, but in older adults, who often have reduced insulin sensitivity, this process becomes less efficient. As a result, the blood sugar drop can feel more intense. Fatigue, brain fog, dizziness, irritability. And what does your body crave to feel better? More carbs, fast ones, the ones it knows will give it another quick boost. So you go back for another bowl of cereal, or a slice of toast, or a cookie. Not because you're weak, but because your body is trying to stabilize itself the only way it knows how. This creates a roller coaster effect. Eat fast carbs, blood sugar spikes, crash, crave more fast carbs. And every time you ride that roller coaster, the cravings get louder, not quieter. Worse still, fast carbs offer little to no satiety. They don't keep you full. Without fiber, protein, or fat to slow digestion, your stomach empties quickly, leaving you feeling hungry again in no time. For seniors, this pattern becomes especially dangerous. Over time, repeated sugar spikes and crashes can contribute to weight gain, insulin resistance, and chronic fatigue. It can also increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, inflammation, and memory decline, conditions that many older adults are already working hard to avoid. The most surprising part? You may not even realize how much sugar you're consuming. Many cereals that seem light or wholesome, even ones with fruit or no added sugar, still contain fast carbs that act like sugar in your body. A cereal made from puffed grains, even without a sweet taste, can spike blood glucose almost as quickly as candy. So what's the alternative? The key is to slow things down. Choose slow-digesting carbs, like oats, quinoa flakes, or sprouted grain bread, and pair them with protein and healthy fat, like eggs, nuts, or Greek yogurt. These combinations help stabilize blood sugar, reduce crashes, and keep you full longer. which naturally quiets those mid-morning or late-night cravings. Harold made a small change. He switched from his old cereal to a bowl of oatmeal topped with chopped almonds and a sprinkle of cinnamon. "It didn't feel like a diet," he said, "but I stopped needing snacks all day long. I just felt satisfied." Fast carbs aren't bad because they're carbs. They're harmful because they're too fast, and our aging bodies need something more stable, more nourishing, and more supportive. When you understand how quickly your breakfast turns into cravings, you're no longer at the mercy of them. You're in charge, and that's a powerful place to be. Number 3, why your brain loves the crunch. Barbara, 70, wasn't someone who cared much for sweet treats. She didn't eat candy or drink soda, and she rarely reached for dessert. But cereal, that was her weakness. "It's not even about the taste," she admitted. "It's the crunch. I love the crunch." Every evening before bed, she'd pour herself a small bowl, sit quietly, and enjoy every bite. She said it helped her relax, but over time she noticed something odd. If she skipped her evening bowl, she felt restless, even anxious. It wasn't just a snack anymore. It had become a kind of comfort, almost like a ritual. And it turns out there's a reason for that. Cereal cravings are not always about sugar. Sometimes they're about texture and habit, especially that satisfying, consistent crunch. Our brains are wired to respond to certain sensory experiences, and crunchiness is one of them. That sound and feel of crisp cereal between your teeth stimulates areas in the brain associated with pleasure, attention, and stress relief. In fact, food companies know this, and they carefully engineer cereals to hit that exact auditory and tactile sweet spot. Why does crunch matter so much, especially as we age? The answer lies in how the brain responds to repetition, rhythm, and predictability. Chewing crunchy food is rhythmic and repetitive, and that creates a calming effect in the brain. It's like a mini meditation that happens while eating. For many older adults, especially those who live alone or experience loneliness, that comforting routine becomes a form of emotional regulation, even if you don't realize it. There's also a behavioral factor at play. Eating crunchy food is engaging. It pulls your attention in, distracts from boredom or anxiety, and gives your brain a task to focus on. This can be soothing, especially in the quiet hours of the morning or evening. Over time, your brain begins to associate cereal not just with food, but with comfort, relaxation, and emotional release. That's why you may crave it even when you're not physically hungry. This effect is further reinforced by what's known as conditioned reinforcement. The crunch, the bowl, the spoon, even the time of day. These cues all become part of a routine that your brain links to positive feelings. So even if you switch to a lower sugar cereal, the act of pouring and eating it might still trigger the same loop. That's why simply changing the brand doesn't always change the craving, because it's not just about taste, it's about experience. And here's where it gets tricky. Because the craving for crunch feels harmless, it often goes unchecked. But when that craving is satisfied with cereals high in sugar or refined carbs, even just a little, it can lead to blood sugar spikes, poor sleep, weight gain, and increased inflammation. And for seniors, those effects are magnified by slower metabolism and reduced insulin sensitivity. So what can you do? First, recognize that your craving may be more about sensory satisfaction than hunger. Then find ways to satisfy that need without triggering the sugar cycle. Try roasted chickpeas, a handful of nuts, air-popped popcorn, or sliced raw vegetables like carrots or celery. These provide crunch without the crash. You can even build in a ritual. Pour them into a small bowl, sit in your favorite chair, and enjoy them slowly. The goal isn't to take away comfort. It's to replace it with something nourishing and gentle on your body. Barbara started replacing her evening cereal with a few almonds and apple slices sprinkled with cinnamon. It wasn't the same at first, she said, but after a few nights I didn't miss it. I still got that little crunch moment, and I slept better too. Understanding your craving is the first step in releasing it. When you know that your brain is seeking comfort, not calories, You can offer it something that supports your health instead of draining it. And that's a choice worth making, one peaceful bite at a time. Number 4, the hidden additives that hook you. Leonard, 75, thought he had found the perfect cereal, one that was lightly sweetened, whole grain, and natural. He liked the taste, loved the crunch, and told himself it was better than snacking on chips or cookies. But something strange kept happening. Even after a full breakfast, he felt the urge to go back for more. Not just once, but sometimes twice in a day. "It's like I can't stop thinking about it," he said, "even when I'm not hungry." What Leonard didn't know is that it wasn't just the sugar or the crunch pulling him in. It was the hidden additives designed to make the cereal not just tasty, but downright addictive. Most people don't realize that many boxed cereals, even those marketed to older adults, are scientifically engineered to keep you coming back. Beyond sugar and refined carbs, food manufacturers use a wide array of flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, salt blends, and texture modifiers that interact with your brain's reward systems, even when you don't consciously notice them. One of the most common tricks is layered flavor profiles. Instead of just tasting sweet or salty, cereals are designed to hit multiple taste receptors at once: sweet, slightly salty, toasty, even hints of vanilla or artificial fruit notes. This combination creates something called sensory-specific satiety resistance, a fancy term that means you never get bored of the flavor, so you just keep eating. Your brain doesn't register fullness as quickly, especially when eating out of habit or emotion. Then there's maltodextrin, a highly processed carbohydrate that's often added to cereals to enhance texture and shelf life. It's not technically sugar, but it digests rapidly and spikes blood glucose even faster than table sugar. It also subtly boosts flavor, making foods more moreish, the kind of thing you keep reaching for without knowing why. Artificial flavors and natural flavors, which aren't always so natural, are also commonly used to mimic the richness of real ingredients. These compounds stimulate the olfactory and taste systems more intensely than actual food, which tricks the brain into a stronger reward signal than it would get from homemade oatmeal or toast. And then there's salt, often hidden in sweet cereals in small but strategic amounts. A touch of salt enhances sweetness, boosts flavor depth, and keeps you engaged. It also triggers a release of dopamine, similar to sugar, and adds to the reinforcement loop that makes certain foods comforting, especially for older adults who may have dulled taste sensitivity. For seniors, these engineered additives can be especially potent. As we age, our senses of taste and smell can decline slightly. That means food needs to be more flavorful to feel satisfying. And manufacturers know this. So they intensify flavor in cereals targeted at older adults, using chemicals rather than real, nourishing ingredients. This creates a short-term pleasure, but at the cost of long-term health. The most frustrating part? These additives rarely appear on the front of the box. Instead, they're buried in the ingredient list under names like natural flavor, caramel color, modified food starch, dried cane syrup, corn syrup solids, or soy lecithin. Most people don't recognize them, so they assume the cereal is simple and clean. But behind those words is a formula designed to keep you emotionally and biologically attached. So what can you do? Start by being a label detective. Look past the marketing and into the fine print. Choose cereals with minimal ingredients, ones you can pronounce, and ideally ones you'd use in your own kitchen. Skip anything with vague terms like flavoring or color. And if you're eating cereal more than once a day, ask yourself, is it true hunger or just the pull of a formula designed to hook you? Leonard eventually made the shift. He swapped his boxed cereal for a homemade mix of oats, cinnamon, chia seeds, and a few crushed walnuts. At first, it wasn't as exciting, he admitted, but now I don't feel like a prisoner to the pantry. I eat, I feel good, and I move on. The truth is, food should nourish you, not manipulate you. And once you see behind the curtain, you can break the hold these engineered cereals have had over your cravings. You're not hooked because you're weak. You're hooked because someone designed it that way. But now you know, and now you're in control. Number 5, late-night cereal cravings, and blood sugar trouble. Shirley, 72, had a habit she didn't like to admit. Every night around 9 p.m., when the house was quiet and the TV was on, she found herself wandering into the kitchen. Not out of hunger, but out of habit. Her hand reached for the same box of cereal she ate that morning, poured a bowl and added milk without thinking twice. "It helps me sleep," she used to say. But over time, Shirley began waking up at 2 or 3 a.m., restless, sweaty, and strangely hungry again. Her doctor mentioned her blood sugar was running high in the mornings. She didn't make the connection until she learned what many people don't know, that late-night cereal may be quietly disrupting your blood sugar, your sleep, and your overall health. Cereal may seem like a light, innocent nighttime snack. It's not greasy or heavy, and it's easy to prepare. But many popular cereals, even healthy ones, are loaded with fast-digesting carbohydrates and added sugars. When eaten at night, especially close to bedtime, these carbs cause a rapid rise in blood sugar. Initially, this can make you feel relaxed or even sleepy, as insulin is released and serotonin levels increase. That's why some people feel comforted or drowsy after eating cereal. It's a real chemical reaction. But here's the problem. What goes up must come down. A few hours after that sugar spike, your blood sugar can drop sharply, especially if the cereal lacked protein, fiber, or fat to slow digestion. This late-night dip may cause your body to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to bring your glucose back up, triggering restlessness, night sweats, vivid dreams, or even waking up hungry in the middle of the night. You may chalk it up to aging, but in reality, your blood sugar may be on a wild ride while you sleep. Over time, this pattern contributes to a condition called dawn phenomenon, when your blood sugar is high in the morning, even if you didn't eat during the night. For older adults, this is especially risky. As insulin sensitivity declines with age, the body has a harder time handling these swings, and repeated night spikes from sugary foods can lead to chronically elevated glucose levels, insulin resistance, and poor metabolic health. Late-night cereal also interferes with another crucial system, melatonin production and sleep cycles. When you eat fast carbs at night, your insulin response may suppress natural melatonin, the hormone that regulates deep sleep. So even if you fall asleep quickly, your sleep quality, the kind that restores your body and brain, may be compromised. That's why many older adults wake up feeling tired, groggy, or needing a nap despite sleeping for 7 or 8 hours. And let's not forget digestion. Our metabolism naturally slows down at night, meaning your body is less prepared to handle large spikes in sugar or food volume. Eating cereal late, especially in front of the TV or without mindfulness, puts added stress on your pancreas and liver while they're trying to rest and recover. So what can you do if you truly feel hungry at night? The goal isn't to go to bed hungry or deprive yourself. It's to nourish yourself wisely. If you need something before bed, opt for a small snack with protein and healthy fat, like a few almonds, a spoon of plain yogurt, or a slice of turkey with cucumber. These options won't spike your blood sugar and can actually help stabilize energy and promote better sleep. Shirley started swapping her cereal habit with a warm cup of herbal tea and a boiled egg or a few walnut halves. Within a week, she was sleeping more soundly, waking up with more energy, and her morning blood sugar readings improved noticeably. "I thought I needed cereal to sleep," she said. "Turns out I needed something gentle that actually helped me rest." Nighttime cravings aren't always about hunger. They're often a mix of routine, emotion, and body chemistry. Once you recognize that late-night cereal is doing more harm than good, you can replace it with something that truly supports your health and your sleep. Number 6, why this problem gets worse with age. Walter, 76, never used to think twice about eating cereal. In his younger years, it was just a quick breakfast. Sometimes he even skipped it altogether. But over the last decade, something changed. Cereal didn't just become a habit, it became something he craved, especially at night, especially when he was tired or stressed. And no matter how many times he told himself he'd cut back, he found himself back at the pantry. "I never had this problem when I was younger," he said, "so why now?" The answer is simple and powerful. As we age, our bodies change, and those changes make us more vulnerable to the effects of sugar, fast carbs, and food-driven cravings. One of the biggest reasons this happens is a natural decline in insulin sensitivity. Insulin is the hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. But after age 60, the body becomes less responsive to insulin. That means when you eat fast-digesting carbs, like the kind found in most cereals, your blood sugar spikes higher and stays elevated longer. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, the beginning stage of type 2 diabetes. And even before diabetes sets in, insulin resistance can trigger fatigue, brain fog, increased hunger, and belly fat, all of which make cravings harder to manage. Another issue is loss of muscle mass, known as sarcopenia. Muscle is one of the main tissues that uses sugar efficiently. As we lose muscle with age, especially if we don't do resistance training or eat enough protein, our bodies have fewer places to store blood sugar. So that bowl of cereal, which used to be burned up quickly, now lingers in the bloodstream, leading to crashes, inflammation, and yes, more cravings. Age also affects digestive efficiency and hormonal balance. Older adults often experience slower digestion and lower levels of hunger, regulating hormones like leptin and ghrelin. That means your body may misinterpret fullness and hunger signals, especially if you're eating foods that cause rapid spikes and drops in blood sugar. It becomes easier to eat based on habit or emotion, rather than true hunger. And let's not forget the role of the brain. As we age, dopamine receptors, the ones that light up when we eat something pleasurable, become less sensitive. This means it may take more sugar, more flavor, or more food volume to feel the same satisfaction we once did with smaller portions. That's why a normal bowl of cereal may no longer hit the spot, leading to repeat servings or more frequent snacking. It's not a lack of willpower. It's a neurological adjustment that happens with age. Add to that the emotional side of aging. Many older adults deal with loneliness, stress, grief, or loss of routine. And cereal, often associated with comfort, familiarity, and childhood, becomes a soothing escape. Combine emotional need with biological vulnerability, and you've got the perfect storm for persistent cravings that are difficult to shake. But here's the good news. Once you understand what's happening inside your body, you can take back control. You're not stuck. You're just operating with an older, wiser body that needs a different kind of care. You can reduce cravings by making small adjustments, add more protein and healthy fat to your meals, eat more fiber, do light resistance exercises a few times a week, and stay hydrated. These habits help stabilize blood sugar, support muscle retention, and improve hormone balance, which in turn quiet those cravings from the inside out. Walter started walking after breakfast, added eggs to his morning routine, and swapped his evening cereal for a few nuts and herbal tea. "I feel more in charge now," he said, "not because I'm fighting cravings, but because I finally understand them." Aging doesn't mean you're doomed to sugar crashes and endless cravings. It just means your body is speaking in a different language, one that asks for balance, nourishment, and patience. And when you listen, everything starts to change, including the way you feel in your own skin. Number 7, what your craving might be telling you. Helen, 72, always started her mornings with cereal, sometimes again as a snack, sometimes right before bed. "I know it's not ideal," she'd say, "but it's the only thing that sounds good. I don't crave anything else." At first, she thought it was just habit or comfort, but deep down she wondered, was her body trying to tell her something? The answer in many cases is yes, because cravings, especially persistent ones like cereal, are often messages from your body asking for something it's missing. Many older adults experience daily cereal cravings not because they love sugar or lack willpower, but because their diet is missing key nutrients or structure, and cereal becomes a quick, familiar filler. Let's take a closer look at what might really be going on underneath that desire for another bowl. One of the most common culprits? Low protein intake. As we age, our protein needs actually increase, especially to preserve muscle mass and metabolic health. But many seniors unknowingly eat too little protein, particularly in the morning. When your breakfast is made up mostly of carbs, like cereal, toast, or fruit, it digests quickly and leaves your body searching for something more sustaining. That unmet need often shows up as a craving for quick energy, cereal, bread, sweets. In reality, your body may be saying, I need protein. Another root cause? Not enough healthy fat or fiber. These two nutrients help slow digestion and promote satiety, the feeling of fullness that lasts. If your meals are low in fiber, from fruits, vegetables, whole grains or seeds, and low in healthy fat, like nuts, avocado, or olive oil, you may feel physically full but not satisfied, triggering repeat cravings, especially for something crunchy, salty, or sweet. And guess what fits that profile perfectly? Cereal. Then there's hydration. It sounds simple, but mild dehydration can often show up as food cravings, especially for carbohydrates. If you haven't had enough water throughout the day, your brain might send signals that feel like hunger, when really all you need is a glass of water or herbal tea. For seniors, who often lose their sense of thirst with age, this is an easy fix that gets overlooked. But not all cravings come from the body. Sometimes they come from the heart. Emotional hunger is real and powerful. For many older adults, cereal is tied to memories, routines, or moments of peace. It might remind you of your childhood, or of caring for your own children, or of feeling safe. In times of stress, loss, or loneliness, we often reach for familiar food to soothe emotional discomfort. And cereal, with its simplicity and reliability, fits the role perfectly. In this case, your craving might be asking, I need comfort, I need connection. So what do you do? The first step is to pause and check in. Before reaching for the cereal box, ask yourself, am I physically hungry or just looking for something to do? Did I eat enough protein and fat earlier today? Have I had enough water? Am I feeling bored, lonely, or anxious right now? These simple questions help you decode what your body and mind are really asking for. And when you meet those needs directly, whether by eating a boiled egg, drinking a glass of water, going for a walk, or calling a friend, you'll often find that the cereal craving fades naturally. Helen eventually started journaling her cravings. She realized they often came at the same times each day: mid-morning, late afternoon, and just before bed. She adjusted her meals to include more protein and fiber, kept a water bottle nearby, and started doing a crossword puzzle before bed instead of eating. I still enjoy cereal once in a while, she said, but it no longer has control over me. I've learned to listen deeper. Cravings are not your enemy. They're messengers. When you listen with curiosity instead of guilt, you begin to see patterns. And when you respond with care instead of judgment, you create space for healthier habits, one small moment at a time. Conclusion: craving cereal doesn't mean you failed. It's simply a sign that your body and mind are seeking something. Whether it's energy, comfort, or nutrients, those cravings are telling you what you need. By listening carefully, adjusting your diet, and meeting your body's true needs, you can break the cycle of sugar and carb cravings. Remember, you're not stuck in a habit. You can choose healthier alternatives and make mornings work for you. Every small step counts in the journey to feeling better, more in control, and healthier as you age. Thank you for watching. Take care of your body, listen to its signals, and enjoy your next meal. Guilt-free. We really appreciate you spending time with us today. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. It's a simple way to support our work, and it helps more people discover the tips they need to live healthier, happier lives. And if you want to stay up to date, just click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. See you again soon.